This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning everybody. Welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve here. It's quite a, beautiful morning to start with the lions. Looks like a duck man here with one of a young, it looked like it, on the road. And then we're just going to see what they're going to be about this morning. So it's good to we will stick with them. Hopefully they would show any of a movement while we were around here. In the meantime, if you jump aboard to your very own live safari through the African bush. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What a morning start of the day. Saturday here at Djuma Private Game Reserve. Looking at looks like we got a duck man here. I know yesterday we were looking around for these lions and we couldn't find them, but we got them this morning. So it's such a great sighting on the road. Just not far from the Gari Main. Not the Gari Dam itself. So I'm Andrew on camera. I have VK this morning. We were success on looking, and I think it was an audio that we heard roaring. They were heard roaring from the dam there, and then they lead us into this direction. So this is a young male. Remember, everybody, we're coming from you to you from these locations, also from different locations as well. So we would love to hear from you. That way, if you send your question through via hashtag WildEarth on Twitter there, and then also you can send at FC on YouTube. If you are under the age of 18 years old, you can still send us an email using kidsquestions at wildearth.tv. But also it's easy if you go register on a WildEarth website, and then also there you head over to a live safari page and you can start submit your question. We will be answering them for you. I'm going to slightly make a room for the other vehicle that is coming right behind us there. So I got the lines, and then looks like Dan Lawrence will be on a dam cam there for us today, this morning, hopefully. And also in Ngala Dike, he will be mobile and Brightland with Steve this morning. So in the meantime, we got these lines. It's so cool to spend time with them. Could be more, I'm not sure how many here, but a duck man with a young male here on the road. It means that could be maybe some of them spread around a little bit in this bush here. We're commenting that it's such nice to see duckmen with a company as the bride. Yeah, it's also good, Sometimes you separate away due to that maybe he slept for a long time and let them go, and then maybe he has to patrol, do his own businesses without the females. But eventually, if it's possible, you always join them again, just like right now. So I'm not so sure how many of them but we'll tell you because we're still going to spend time with them. I know it's going to be a lot of a car that wanted to see them yesterday. They were not a visual of them, so if it's that the case, then we always have to rotate a sighting and return back to the sighting just to watch what they will be up to. It's not actually very hot yet, but it's slightly, just like yesterday, 14 degrees in this morning. And it's kind of like a cloudy building up. So we'll see if it's going to be any change. Maybe the temperature would drop more than that, we thought. And this is actually always the route, always when they're around here, that take this route. There's a Mvubu road from Gari Dam itself, and then they maybe move further north from here. The Talamati Pride always shift into the northwest, into Manyeleti, and then come back again. So that this is their patrol area of their territory. Duckman is just closing his eye there. So everybody, we're going to stay with them in the meantime. Let's take a look at the weather on our various different locations.
Dark Main once again makes an appearance, and I am sitting here on the dam cam, as you will all probably be able to tell. My name is Lauren, and I am also on the camera. Probably not going to do the most amazing job, however. Wendy, as I predicted, needed to go to the hospital. She broke down last night, right at the end of drive, but thank goodness it was on quarantine. So Dobby gave a big push, and she rode all the way home. So Opaz here, our wizard of a mechanic, and he will absolutely fix her up for this afternoon. But right now, we're on the dam cam, and you can see it's a very drab-looking morning. It's very overcast. The sun is definitely up, but it's not popped out, that's for sure. And Andrew, of course, will be extremely happy. He's with the Talamatis. He loves his lions, dear Andrew. And Darkmane. We all love a bit of Darkmane, especially when he's got his head up. And I have to say, he's got his head up. So that's all good news at this side. But very often there's not much to see on the dam cam, so please feel free to send in questions for me, discussion points, anything that you want to know. It can be rather broad. But I shall do my best. I'm just giving you some beautiful views right now of Djuma Dam. The lions obviously were here not so long ago, but it's pretty normal by the time we get up. They've normally moved off. I really hope that sun does pop through, though. It makes a world of difference. I'm just very grateful that Wendy did not break down on Chitwa. I'm not sure Dobby could have pushed Wendy all the way home from Chitwa, that's for sure. But that's okay. I'm going to admire the beautiful views on the dam cam. Please send in your questions, and we're going to send you guys over to Steve to say good morning.
Good morning, and welcome everybody to the morning to the dawn here in Providence, where the sun is rising, as always, relatively the same place. We are out and about on bushwalk. Where else would we be? Hello everybody, my name is Steve, joined by Gert on camera, and wishing you a very good morning. Now, this morning, what we're going to do once we get a little bit more light is we're going to focus on some tracks today. It's quite windy. The wind was pumping last night, so it has damaged a lot of the tracks due to the wind on the sort of soft surface. We'll see what we can find. But also, when it's quite windy, it's not always advisable to walk too far out in the bush, as our number one, or one of our top senses out here, is our hearing. So we'll start the morning just with a nice reflective look at the sun.
So we just got this position now, not the one position that we had when we arrived. So we give that to the other guys there. So we reposition, can see clearly at the young male that is sitting right there. And then when his father is right in front of him. So it looks like at the moment we can see through, because there's a female that she is moving away from us. So maybe she's trying to communicate with them. And that's how the duck male now is very interested in looking in that direction. Maybe that's what we want them to move in. And then they would move actually from here. They won't stay here. They would definitely gonna move different area. But it's good that we got them in Djuma, so we directly east of the camp. The Djuma camp itself. There's always communication, so it's probably maybe this is a way of looking for the other pride, the way they communicate. So the duck men, they're going to be on the move right now. So he's still a little limp, but it's not bad. So that's only worse when he's just started to move. And then it's going to be all right as it goes. So we've been hearing the female that she's leading the way there. which is all about calling for them to move on. So there they go. They look hungry to me. Haven't actually eaten last night, but I can see there. So they will probably do both hunting and patrolling around here. So I'm going to move forward, follow them. So they're using exactly the route that they always use when they're around here. Just gonna see how far they're gonna go, because temperature like these, then it would make them travel far away. Oops, there's a hole there. When I start following the lines, then they would have just disappeared. What happens a lot of time when off-roading and then you're stuck and the sighting is moving. So I'm going to go right in front of them there, see if they can see their face. Just to tell many of them is so we got them here. It's one of the female. There's a yawn. Gotta stretch their jaws, and have been probably on a lot of. Now we look for them. What we see is a lot of tracks, but then nobody find them. So everybody, we're gonna try to stick with them. If it's no other vehicles responding into these, in the meantime, let's go across to Brightland with Steve to say hello to everybody.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the sun once again, and to our first track of the morning. You'll notice that it's inside here, and there's another one over there. That one's not very clear, but this one, you see that it's a small little creature that's sort of doom, 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 hopping on a very nice track in the sand, nice and soft, either early this morning or at night. And you can see how small each of those individual things there are feet. That's a foot, that's a foot, that's a foot, that's a foot. And that's a very small animal that's hopping. Now, you probably haven't seen one of these before, but this is a very characteristic track of a small rodent, or we call murid tracks, of how the animal is just hopping along. Ding, ding. And obviously owls are out and about at night trying to catch these. So if I just show you in the book over here, you'll see the very characteristic sort of track here of a mouse, some form of rodent. See how it hops from there to there. If you've ever seen them moving along the ground, they don't really walk. They sort of move at high speed, especially across open areas, because there are lots of things out and about trying to catch them. Here is another typical run. This one's gone that way, that one's gone that way. And here is a characteristic sort of foot structure over here. Okay, so they run, their front feet land and then their back feet land, almost like that of a scrub hare. When they're running, their front feet will land and then the back feet will land in front of them, and that's how they carry themselves forward. So the shape of it going forward like that gives you an idea that these tracks are going in this direction as they're bounding over. So sort of the front feet land and then the back legs come over the side. And I obviously do this very quickly, so you don't always get to see a very clear print of the feet. But very, very nice as the toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not very easily seen in the sand. So one of our smaller tracks. We will be doing another field observation before I leave, maybe on Monday morning, maybe tomorrow. Those of you who weren't a part of the field observation last time, we basically go through a whole lot of tracks, and then we'll do a little bit of a test with you through the morning drive or the afternoon drive or however it plays out, and see how many you can get right. And if you don't get too many right or too many wrong, it doesn't really matter. It's all about learning and improving on your tracking ability. So we're going to move on and find ourselves another lovely track in the sand, because it is a beautiful morning as the sun is cresting the horizon, starting to warm us up. Dyke in Ngala would like to say good morning.
Yeah, good morning everybody, and welcome on your African Life's Bush Safari. My name is Dyke Koza and Morgan on the camera behind me. This morning we're going to be following up on the Birmingham suburb lions with the white ones. So we're hoping to find these animals this morning, because this is the area where the animals have been last seen last night. So we're just checking to see if we can pick up some fresh tracks and follow up on these animals and see what they've been up to this morning. This is a beautiful day, and we're hoping to find these animals at the carcass or while they're still on the move, because it's still cool enough. Like if they haven't found anything last night, so they're possibly going to be still trying to hunt until late mornings. As you know, these animals hunt at night, but when it's cool like this, if they're really hungry, they may still try to hunt until a bit late, and then they'll try find a spot to settle down, wait for the sun to go down, and try again. As you know, these animals can go for a couple of days without food. They'll try tonight again, if no success last night. If nothing, they'll try tomorrow and the next day until something happens. So as you can see, this is a beautiful area for them, because lions need more cover to stalk and get as close as they can and chase during the last few meters, and also a good area for buffalo bulls and some giraffes, impalas. Most of the antelope species may be found around this area. So yeah, we haven't have any luck on finding the tracks. We're just gonna keep checking on this area for the next hour, maybe 45 minutes, and then if we don't have any luck, so we'll try look for something else in the area.
Founded in 1973, the Endangered Wildlife Trust has consistently and effectively worked towards achieving our conservation legacy. Contribute to this legacy by visiting EWT's Get Wild eShop and purchase products with a purpose.
We're here at the Advanced Rifle Handling Challenge, which is actually lots of challenges in one to gauge the contestants' skills at different distances and different speeds. This is probably the challenge that the contestants are the most nervous about. So let's get them locked and loaded. Are now doing the Hales halt, where they have to run back and forth to a target, turn, take aim, and shoot. And this simulates a chase in a real environment and gets the heart pumping and the blood pressure up. James gave us a demonstration, and the skill involved in this exercise is remarkable.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially subalterns and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
So everybody, we're still with the pride, but they're moving right straight in front of us. And now they're not in the road anymore, so we're trying to move right behind them, just to also to see that we don't lose them, because now we're going into one of the drainage line system where they're going, but we still have the visual. Oops. Oh, I still have a visual, so I'm gonna get close to them there. Sorry, BK. So I'm going to drive through this. So they're using in one of a game path which is made by all animals. So cats, they would mainly like to use those one to move through. And this is what is happening right now. No, for now, I'm not sure. We got them there, and it looks like they're busy trying to listening around them. Eighth lover, so you're asking, would the duckman still be a territorial patrol? Yes, he is. Still at the moment, and then he would be, that's why sometimes he doesn't stick with the pride. There's a time he would have his privacy, but also that way then he does a lot of work, reactivate the scent around in the area, but also make a lot of calls, which is a roaring. Also, this is also one of the advertise of their own territory around here. So he is very much in territorial patrol. And it's so great that it hasn't been so much of a challenge for him. Not yet. And then in that case, it's so cool when they have a male, coalition male of lion, I mean, that they're all taking care of the bride in the area, where every now and then, every few years, 2 years, and you're able to witness cubs that are born in a pride, because then they have males and they have females that are in the area to produce with them. That female, she's also leading right in front of him. She's desperately looking for the other pride, you can tell. So if the challenge arrives, which is usually arrival of the new coalition of male in the area trying to claim the territory over here, then it's going to be very difficult for him. If they 5 or then more than 1, stronger males coming into the area, then he has to work harder to defend his territory, and he's the only male to do that. The female will assist, but eventually it happens that he may lose or probably just ran away from the area if he lost the fight. We're just going to stay with them. Safari Kitty, you're saying they so beautiful, magnificent lions. Safari Kitty, this pride are the most beautiful of the lions in this area. The healthy is there. The duckman, he limps a little bit, but that doesn't actually make him suffer. And then he's still keeping up with the pride, as we can see right now. So that way, it makes him succeed when they kill something, and then he's going to be sharing with them. The worst part that it happens as he's with them is that when they kill something, it's not enough for everybody, then he would probably have it for his own. Let's say it's a grey duiker or, impalas. That's going to be extremely fight there, and he eventually win the whole meet because he's the only males in the pride. Even their 2 brothers in the pride, eventually the dominant one will just going to take the whole chunk. This is when they kill small prey species. So I'm going to try, they're going down to the deep sea, how we're going to manage with them. In the meantime, let's go across to Steve in Pride Land on a walk.
Welcome back, everybody, and we've got some more tracks here on the floor. You'll see as Gert walks the line of all of these birds. A whole lot of them here, and one of them had a poo. But we're just going to carry on to compare. First, you notice that there's lots of them. And then over here, very interestingly, I've got a nice comparison between the same species, which is following there, and another species over here. You see the size difference. Now, if I measure that there, this is from, let's go a little bit further forward, the back toe. Let's actually use this one, because there's the back toe there. Back toe is about there, 10 centimeters. You notice when we draw this line here, that is a 90-degree arc. 1 toe, 2 toe, 3 toe, and you can't see the 4th toe because of the other foot walking on top. 10 centimeters, and we measure this one. There is the back toe there. 7 centimeters. If we draw this line here, you'll notice that it's over 90 degrees. Okay, so these are 2 birds that are quite often mistaken for each other. But you'll notice that on the first one we were tracking, they were in a whole flock of them moving, and a very characteristic sort of track of the guinea fowl with their 90 degrees. Can you see how 90 degrees it is? And the track is 10 centimeters almost. Whereas the smaller track over here, We must always remember to include the back toe. That's not always evident. That is 7 centimeters, and the toes go over 90. You can clearly see that that is not a 90-degree angle. Goes over 90, but still 3 toes forward and 1 back. A ground bird, easily confused with a guinea fowl, but remember, we always talk about size. This is the track of a spur fowl. And sometimes you might find 2 or 3 together, not normally too many. They don't occur in the same sort of flocks as that of guinea fowl. So very nice comparison between the two. And we go back to our guinea fowl poo over there because it's actually a lot smaller, strangely enough, than that of a spur fowl. Now, how on earth a guinea fowl that's much bigger, you can see the white is started to form over there, the uric acid. This is very fresh. There were flies on it. You can see the white. Birds have only got a cloaca, so they don't have an anus and a sort of urethral tube. So all of their uric acid gets concentrated and comes out in a ball on the end of the poo. That's very characteristic of bird droppings. But the guinea fowl's got this nice long poo with the white, whereas a francolin or spur fowl makes these really large nugget-like round things. I think I might have a picture of it in here as a comparison. No, just a guinea fowl. So nice and long and straight. We'll find you hopefully a spur fowl poo, but you'd be surprised that the spur fowl's poos are generally bigger than the guinea fowl. How and why? But both very important species out here for scratching around in the dirt. They provide a very nice buffer food for many of our birds of prey, many of our small mammals, small predators, including leopard, caracal, serval, wildcat, and obviously very important to provide food for all of those animals. So we're going to move on and find you some more tracks, or I will send you to Dark, who's on the move.
Yeah, we're still checking to see if we can pick up any fresh signs from these lions, but no luck as yet. So they may still be traveling through this block here, but I'm hoping they'll come out somewhere on one of these roads that we're busy checking, because from as far as we looked, nothing came out from behind us. So we're just gonna carry on in the direction where we're traveling, which is south, towards the middle of the reserve, and hoping that they came out somewhere, and hope to find these beautiful lions. We didn't see the white lions yesterday, so that's what we're trying to see, if we can find these white lions and see if they're still safe and good conditions. And so like some of the ross males chasing them around every now and then. So we're hoping, yeah, they okay and safe in this block. Maybe if we can hear some impalas alarm calling at some stage, maybe stop and listen if we can get some audio of these animals feeding on the carcass, because sometimes if they're still in the block, you may not find tracks, but if you happen to stop somewhere, if they're feeding at the carcass, you will normally hear them growling at each other. That will be really nice if we can stop somewhere and try to listen, because we did earlier, but we didn't pick up anything. So we're just going to check another road again, circling this block where these animals were last seen. If they're not coming up on any of this road, we might as well go check the last position, see if they're still there. But the chances are they have left the area where they were last night. Even if they didn't go far, they may have gone somewhere in this block. But, yeah, you never know. If anything happens not too far from where they were, yes, Josie, sometimes they'll do a very loud roar, which that will be contact call for the pride as well as a territorial roar. But sometimes they'll do a very low contact and see if they're not too far from each other. So yeah, we're just gonna carry on. Unless they happen to get really lucky, not too far from where they were last night. Like I said, if nothing comes out, we may as well go back and check the last position, but I'm sure they've moved from where they were, even if they didn't go far. So if we're lucky, they may not be far from where they were last seen last night, so might find them there, you never know, because if they catch something not far from where they are, they don't have to go that far. Unless nothing happened, they may have crossed in a different area to where we checked, but we're just gonna keep checking maybe the next 20 minutes or so. If we don't have luck, we'll try to see if we can find something else and look for these lions again this afternoon. But once we've checked all the areas or the roads where we think they could have come out, if nothing is coming out, so we'll know they're definitely in the block. Yeah, so if we're lucky, we may get to see them this afternoon, because if nothing coming out of any of these roads that circle the block where they were last seen. So yeah, let's hope they'll come out somewhere on one of the road and find fresh tracks where we can start looking, because as soon as we find tracks, and then we'll know where to go and look. But now we're just hoping they come out on any of these roads. So yeah, at least if they're not coming out, we'll know where to go and look. Maybe find them feeding off something this morning. Yeah, let's hope something happened last night. Got lucky, maybe caught something really big that will last them for maybe a couple of days, because they might need something to eat as well. May not have eaten for the last few days. These animals can go sometimes a couple of days without food. As I said, people generalize that only hyenas that scavenge, but lions also do. You never know. If sun is coming out, as you can see, it's beautiful light, and then might see some vultures going down if these animals are on the carcass. That will be a better giveaway for us, so we can easily go over and check those vultures. this is the good thing about the African bush, because you never know what can come out. Like, you can be surprised by anything. You'll be looking for lions and all of a sudden leopard on the road. Look what we found. We just located on 2 elephant bulls here, of which I'm not sure if they can be part of the herd, but so far we can just see the 2 bulls which are grazing peacefully and then moving slowly just across this road. As you can see, the one guy there, it's just feeding slightly on that bush. If you look at his tusks, there's one tusk that's almost a small piece that's left of the tusk, because these animals are mixed feeders. They'll eat anything from the roots, bark of the trees, leaves, as well as wild fruits and berries. So they use these tusks for peeling the bark off the trees as well as digging. So they have what we call the slave and the master tusk, of which the shorter one is the slave one. That's the one that's getting used more and more for peeling the bark off the trees as well as digging, until that get worn down. So this is more or less same like us being right or left-handed. Besides, we don't lose our hands. As you can see, there was a blackbird hovering just this. There's quite a few of them there, sitting on some of those bushes there. Those are the fork-tailed drongos. What they'll do, they'll follow these animals moving through the bush, because they disrupt or flush the insects from the grass. So these birds will go for the insects. It's interesting though, if these bulls are alone, yes, sometimes these guys will travel by themselves, because elephant heads are matriarchal society. They lead by the female, so they don't need much of these bulls to be always in the herd. Otherwise, these bulls, once they start getting old, start getting slower as well, can't keep up with the rest of the herd, as they need a lot to eat, of which a guy like that can take about 250 to 300 kilograms of food. Yeah, because they have a very poor digestion system. That's why they need so much to eat, because only 40% of what they eat get digested and the rest just pass through the stomach. That's why these animals can defecate like 100 kilograms of dung per day. But even if they, by themselves, they know where the rest of the herd is, because these animals can easily communicate between 15 and 30 kilometers away from each other by sound, which sound like a stomach rumbling, but it's a very low frequency of which the sound that our ears can pick up can travel that far. So if they want to join up, they may track the head down, join up for 1 or 2 days, go off on his own. Another reason a fully matured bull like this can move from one head to another for breeding purposes. Very interesting though, because these animals will live about 65, 70 years, and they have these 6 sets of molar teeth which they just keep weighing off until they get the last set of teeth once they 45, 50 years. This is when they tend to eat more grass than anything else, because they also know they're going through the last set of teeth, and these have to see them through 15, 20 years, otherwise they die of starvation. So if you look around where they are, the grass is so dry, so they eat a lot of dry food at the moment. So this is why these animals will need to drink water maybe 2 or 3 times a day during this time of the year, because they need a lot of water to flush it out because of so much dry food that they eat. They may be grazing and browsing slowly in the direction of water. Get there and they'll have some water to drink. Same routine, graze and go in the direction of another water hole. Yeah, we're just going to carry on with the search for those lions and leave these elephants grazing peacefully. Let's go over to Steve and see what Steve can find for us. This was good elephant sighting.
Thanks, Dyke, and good luck finding your lions. We have found animals that are an animal that I think your Pride of Lions would like to find. Beautiful, tall, female southern giraffe. As with yesterday, enjoying the knobthorns. I'm actually going to find a knobthorn flower today or tomorrow, and I'm going to eat it, and just to show you all, or at least test out, what does it taste like, because it seems to be what everybody's after. On our way out yesterday afternoon, I actually saw a squirrel right up on top of a knobthorn tree, busy guzzling one of those flowers, so there must be something to it. But we do come from a world where flavor is everything, and the animals live in a world where it's not all about flavor, it's about nutrients. I reckon 80, 90 years ago, before the gastronomic sort of gastronomy Bible was created, food was pretty bland, and it was all about just getting it in. Now there are so many different flavors and palettes of food out there. So I will taste one. There are plenty of them around, if I can reach. The giraffe have pretty much eaten all of those at giraffe level. And the fork-tailed drongo is hanging around there, capitalizing on any insects that might be disturbed by her movement. I'm not sure if you can hear the whistling in the background of the pied. The magpie shrike, long-tailed shrike, langstaart laksman. Jerry, there's nothing quite like a giraffe, is there? And there's another one on the other side of the dam. Nothing quite like a giraffe. The okapi shows us evidence of the formation of such a tall animal. The okapi is kind of like a long-necked looking zebra. But evolutionary adaptations that have taken a very long time to put them where they are. And we have a vehicle on the way, so we're just going to step out of the way. Very nice. That looks like a tall male giraffe there. And unless they move, it's very difficult to actually see them in the landscape. Here we go, gone behind a bush. Invisible.
The Endangered Wildlife Trust fights at the forefront of conservation, across the vast karoo and sweeping grasslands, in remote pockets of forest, along road networks, across African skies, and in communities to conserve our wildlife and wild spaces. Help us to protect forever, together. Donate now at ewt.org.za.
We got there, he had probably moved a couple of 100 meters down the river and it was about 10 meters from this causeway. So I radioed the lodge quickly and just asked them to bring a Land Cruiser around and some tow straps. So we thought we were going to try be heroes and save this giraffe. And now a big bull, probably over a ton. He's a big unit. Got the tow strap one side of the giraffe and managed to get it around him with the boat, and the other edge of the tow strap obviously back onto the bank. So we made this U around him because he was lying quite close to the bank. And we put that Land Cruiser in low range and we just gave it hell and pulled that giraffe, and the tow strap slipped up and we thought, oh no, it's going to slip off the top of the head, and it caught on his ossicones top. And that last 10 meters pulled him out onto the bank, and he battled. He was obviously quite weak and all that.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is a call of desperation with a cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
I got into wildlife filmmaking because of a passion for nature and a notion that I could make a difference. Helping others fall in love with nature brings meaning to what I do. It's also a lot of fun. A couple of times per week, we receive some very heartfelt messages from viewers telling us about how WildEarth has made a difference in their life, whether it's helped them through a difficult period or simply helped them to reconnect with nature. I think that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, what a nice elephant sightings. We've just left those elephants grazing peacefully south, and we're gonna carry on and see if we can have any luck on those lands that we were looking for. That was just by luck we came across those elephants again, so you never know. Chances are still there that we might find these lands, but we haven't picked up any fresh signs. So we're just gonna look around and check one more road and go back to the last position where these lands were seen last night. Yeah, so we hope that they didn't go too far from where they were. And that's what we're gonna be doing so far from now, hoping to find fresh tracks. Let's carry on looking and then hope to see if we can find those lands. Otherwise, yeah, that's also a good area for a leopard. You never know. Like now we've been surprised by those elephants down the road while we're trying to find the lands. So we can find a leopard. A leopard will be good. So I wouldn't say no if I come across a leopard, because that's one of the most beautiful cat. But yeah, it will also be really nice to see those very rare white lands of the world. And yeah, let's hope to find these lands. And then, yeah, as you can see, the light is going up a bit. It will be really nice to find them lying out in the open in this beautiful light on this African bush. You can see we're going through this very beautiful vegetation. This is the kind of vegetation where the lions will enjoy, especially when they kill something, because it's nice shades. Yeah, good question, James. Lions never leave the carcass before finishing. They'll eat until they're done. Even if they have eaten a lot of it, they may not go too far. They may just find a spot and lie down, maybe keep guarding the carcass if the hyenas come over to the area, and then they might just chase the hyenas away and chase the vultures away. They'll eat until they're done. That's when they can maybe leave the area, go look for water, because once they've got a carcass, then they don't have to drink every day. They'll get the moisture from the blood, so lions don't have to leave the carcass. They definitely don't leave the carcass. If anything, they might go look for water, but not all of them at the same time. They'll just leave the water one by one and one will go, or two of them, depending on how many there are. Some of the members of the pride will go look for water, get some water, drink, and come back to the carcass. And then, yeah, we're just going to carry on with the search for the lions and go over to Lauren.
We've got a very cold, chilly-looking lilac-breasted roller here. You can see just by the movement of the grass that it's windy. I'm obviously inside. I'm inside the old final control, not complaining. I've got my coffee. And you can just see from the grass that it's breezy, and this roller clearly looks like it's fluffed up and not entirely ready to fly away just yet. Birds are endothermic, just like us. And they also take a while to warm up in the morning. They can do that naturally by flying, generating heat through the muscles, if they're ready to do that, or by eating. I'd rather eat, I think. But you can see this beautiful roller is deciding. And we had quite a discussion yesterday, or I chatted about the great diapause. That's what happens. That's where the insects have gone. The insects are either dead at the end of their life cycle, or they're dormant. They're dormant somewhere underground or in sort of safe places, tree cavities. And it's a big struggle for birds like the rollers, the lilac-breasted rollers, that of course are looking for insects. They're going to have to adapt. They're going to have to change their diet. Ooh. Okay, I'm definitely not as skilled as Davy and BK to keep up with that one. And off he goes, clearly choosing to fly to generate some heat. Going to keep searching around the jam cam, see what else I can find, and I believe Steve has some tracks for you.
Welcome back, everybody. We survived our giraffe encounter, and we've managed to find another very interesting track. Always nice to see these tracks out and about. You'll be able to see it's quite simple. There it is. A nice rounded sort of track. There's more than one here. There's another one there. Another one there. It's a bit longer. And another one over there, heading in this direction towards the dam for a drink. But as promised, we managed to find some knobthorn flowers. Now these pretty little flowers, when they fall off, land on the ground, and ants will capture this pollen and take it into their nests, which will be well used. I'm already getting a dry mouth, and I haven't even put it in yet, okay? We're ready. It's got no taste at all. There's a lingering taste there. You want to try some khat? Khat's always game, except when it's very bitter. I could probably survive off that. It's got like a candy floss feel without the sweetness. It's like a bland, flavorless candy floss. What do you think, Khat? It'll come.
It's chewy.
Thomas, I don't know that it was safe to eat, but the giraffe eating it, squirrels are eating it, monkeys and baboons eat it. So, I probably should have done the test. But generally most flowers are okay. If there's a milky latex, you should probably avoid doing so. But also bear in mind, what I do on the show, don't always think that it's completely safe to do at home. I am my own guinea pig. Khat, sorry about that. Back to the track on the ground. So I could definitely survive off of those. Now, this is a very easy track to identify. You'll see that it's a single toe. There's a hoof over there. Single toe, hoof. We call it a single toe, although it's a hoof. This animal has evolved to form just one toe, whereas many of the antelope species we see end up having two, with the two nails fused together to form the two split toes, whereas this animal is an even, or shall I say, odd-toed, and very classically seen here in our zebra tracks. The half moon shape on the ground, and often in the right substrate you'll actually see this little V-shaped triangle that is for some reason called the frog. In horses as well, it's called the frog, and that is often seen in certain substrates. Here's the difference between the mountain zebra, the plain zebra, and the Cape. You don't get the three of them in the same area, so if you did find a track like this, almost certain that it would be a zebra. A horse track is far bigger, very, very big in fact, and I was in Botswana once and I came across what I thought was the world's biggest zebra, and then I was told there were horses on the property. So a horse track would be like this. Strangely enough, that may be not as big, but they do get very, very large. So there's another track for our repertoire for today. I think we have done zebras before, but I'm going to go through a number of tracks with you so that by the time we do our field observation, you are going to have a good handle on many of them. And while we move on to our next track, let's send you back over to Andrew.
So we have lost the pride for now. And the guys, we confirmed that they got them, but for us it was not possible to drive across that little donga there, the drainage line system. So what are we gonna do, because they're heading north, so we're gonna reach the boundary, the northern boundary, and then we're gonna communicate with the guys in there, because they're gonna follow them there. It looks like they're still moving north in that area, but they haven't yet crossed into Bevlershoek, which they would, I think, if they don't stop carrying on north. And they're still communicating, so they're probably hoping to hook up with the rest of the pride out there. So we just saw back there with them communicating, making sound is not actually a sign of hunting. So, because all prey species right in front of them or surrounding area, they'll be well alert of these lions being in that area.
Yeah, we just had a message from one of the guides in the reserve. Those lions are found So we're just slowly making our way into that area because we have a limited number of vehicles in the sighting. With the sensitivity to these animals, we just try view them sensitively, like we do 3 vehicles maximum in the sighting. So the lions are found this morning, so we will end up seeing these lions. So we're heading down in a direction, like I mentioned earlier. If no tracks coming out on any of these roads, these animals will have not moved too far from where they were last seen last night. So lucky enough, one of the vehicles in the reserve went back to that area where those lions were. So they were found further downstream along this dry riverbed that we're going to be crossing now. So we'll end up seeing these lions. This will be great because that's what we've been looking for this morning. So when we are looking for our way to get there, so we're just gonna try to see if we can find something else along the way. Yeah, we're heading down this road. As I mentioned earlier, the lions have been found. So, yeah, as limited number of vehicles in the sighting, so we're on standby, first standby to get to those lions. As soon as one vehicle is done, there's 3 vehicles in the sighting maximum, as far as I know. So there's 3 vehicles at the moment. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna slowly take a long detour on the way there. So as soon as one vehicle is done, then they're gonna move out for us, because it's not just a matter of finding these animals and put as many vehicles as we can. We do respect these animals as well. So that's why I'm saying now we're on first standby. Only 3 vehicles are allowed maximum in the sighting. So that's what's happening for now. So let's see if we can find something really interesting along the way, because the lions are not the only animals that occur in this reserve. There's lots of other species that you can expect to see, like the leopards. As you can see, this is a nice and open area for cheetah. It will be really nice to find a cheetah, because cheetah is one of those animals that we don't get to see every now and then here. But they do come and go. It's just the fact that cheetah prefer or rely on speed, so they need more open space like where we're going through now. So let's hope to find something really interesting along the way to the lions, of which it will be really nice to see these lions this morning. As you can see, this is a beautiful light this morning, and hoping that the lions will be there. Go ahead. Yeah. So they're lying in the riverbed, so we're gonna be heading down now. It sounds like someone is calling me on the radio, so they might want to tell me to start making my way there. So really excited to see these lions this morning.
We have some impalas grazing around the dam. I very often think it's the same impalas that you find around each water body. They're not really territorial on the whole. The males do become territorial during the rutting season, but that does sort of dissolve that behavior, that structure. But they definitely have a home range that they stick to quite strictly. And the vegetation around water bodies is said to retain moisture throughout the year the longest, because it is next to that water system. there's lots of organisms that live underneath the ground. And water. Okay, as I watch my impalas, we are going to send you over to Steve.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We found another set of really lovely tracks. There's one over here, and then there, and then there, and then I've actually gone and measured it. A few over here. You see the back of the track is there, the front of the track is there. The knife is 10 centimeters, which means that this track is about 8, and it's got the 1, 2, 3, 4 toes, and there's 3 lobes at the back there. So we've gone through it in detail before. It's definitely a female leopard from the size, but what I want to run through with you today is how do we tell the difference between a right and a left foot. Obviously the front foot is bigger than that of a back foot, but how do we know if it's right or left? Now what's quite easy is on your hands, when you do your toes, picture these as your toes. Which toe is the middle longer one? Okay, so when we look at this track over here, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. Now if I put my right hand in there, you notice that it's not right. It's not right. But if I put my left hand in there, we've got the 2 shorter ones. The longest one is in the middle, and the right is over there. So this is a left foot. There's the toe, the longest toe, the inside toe, and the back pad. Okay, so, ow, that was very sore. So that is a back foot with a long toe there. Here is 1, 2, 3. There's a right foot. We can see that there's a 1 toe, and the longest toe is over there. Is that clear enough, Gert? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the hyenas and leopards and lions work the same whenever you do find their tracks. Just if you're not sure, and it's something that it's nice to know, right versus left foot, back foot versus front foot, that can help you with the speed and the gait, but just checking at your fingers on the ground. Just do this, is that one, is that one? Takes a bit of practice, but then once you start getting the idea of how your longest finger works, the middle finger, then you'll know exactly which hand or foot that animal is putting down. So this was a female leopard walking pretty quickly in that direction, but the wind has been really damaging this track. It was probably from yesterday. It's not very, very fresh. She's walking over towards leopard koppies over there. Did you get that? Sorry, Jared, I heard Alison ask if we can tell something about an animal, but we had a bit of breakup there. There's a few things you can tell about an animal. I'm not sure what the question was, but hopefully we cannot. Alison, you can tell if an animal is injured by its track. For example, it could be dragging a foot, sort of dragging something like that. But sick, I think experts would most certainly be able to tell you. If an animal is sick, I wouldn't be able to tell you. You know, the experts can tell if an animal's favoring a leg, if they're walking in a certain way. You know, like when you're not walking very well, you're kind of dragging your foot along the ground. That's not really classified as being sick. That's injured. An animal will definitely have an influence in the way that they walk if they're not 100% well. But I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you, but I've no doubt those experts out there, the guys who know animals intricately, that spend a lot of time on the ground following, will be able to tell you, ooh, this animal's that. I mean, there's stories of guys you can track and say this lady's pregnant and that guy's got a wooden leg, got a false leg. I suppose there's many ways, and once you spend enough time tracking. But sickness, Gert, you've done some tracking in the past. You wouldn't really know about sickness, eh? Injured, definitely, you could tell injured to a degree. But some animals, unless it's a leg injury or whatever, you wouldn't really be able to know. If an animal's been injured, there could be blood, there could be blood spoor that gets followed. But sickness, Alison, I wouldn't be able to tell you. So right versus left leg, speed, sex, and back versus front. Now those are nice questions to be put into a field observation. And let's have a look over here, because she's kept walking here. Kept walking. And here we've got one. That's not very clear. There's the 1 toe, 2 toes, 3, 4. And again, this is a left. You can actually see the 3 points over there. So use that. It's a nice way of working out animals' feet structures, hyenas, lions, and leopards. And well, I think Dyke is still looking for his lions. Let's go see how he's getting on.
Yeah, we just got to the area where the lions are, and animals were in the riverbed earlier, but seems to have moved out of that riverbed, and they're on the move through this vegetation here. We're just gonna try loop around and see if we can get to see them from the other side, and hoping that we get to see them while they still on the move, because seems to be moving through this sort of dense vegetation, unless they happen to lie down somewhere in the area. But oh, there we go. You can see they're on the move now. There's the white lion. Wow. As you can see, it's still cool enough for them to be moving. As I said, these animals are on the move. Just gonna reverse and go back onto the road to see if we can get to see them crossing the road. It's a bit difficult to keep up with these animals while they're on the move, because they try to hunt because they're still cool enough. They don't look really hungry though, but they might still try if they come across something along the way. 1 or 2 of them looks like they've eaten a bit. Maybe they've caught something small last night. They might have eaten some of them. It's going to be a bit difficult because it's difficult terrain where these animals are moving into. So we'll see if we get lucky. There's other vehicles that we're going to work together here and try see if we can relocate. Here's one that I can see so far. I'd like to go over to the other side and wait for them, hope to see them cross this riverbed here. Oh, here we are. As you can see, they're walking slowly down towards this riverbed. One just walk past my vehicle. There's the white one. It's about to come down. Off they go. As you can see, they're chasing each other. They're still very young lions. As you can see, they were a little bit playful as they were crossing the riverbed. I'm just gonna try and move up a bit. See if we can follow them from that side. Yeah, sorry guys, we're just gonna try and maneuver and see if we can get to see these animals position their vehicle on the good side of the light. So it's nice to see them walking down the road. I'm just gonna try move slightly off the road, and as you can see, they're just using a strategy, walking and stopping, trying to listen to see if they can hear things walking through. As you can see, there's a bit of a wind blowing, which is in favor of these animals here. I'm hoping because the one yeah, this one right at the back, she's the oldest lioness, as you can see. always trail behind these animals. I'm so grateful and happy to see her still around, because it's really old for lion, because he's about 17 years. These animals are known of living maybe, say, 12, 15 years the longest. So it's quite interesting though she's still around, but once in a while she'll be lagging behind and not with the pride. Oh, like in the distance I can see the other white lion. Wow. I was wondering where he was. So that's him there with one of the other young males, which is really nice to see these animals are still together, because, yeah, otherwise the big gross males are chasing the younger males. Yeah, they're chasing the younger males, so it's going to be interesting to see what happened with these animals, because recently we've watched the big gross male chasing these animals, especially with the subadult males. So I'm just going to drive around and see if we can cut them off the front and then have a better view of them walking towards us. Yes.
The scribe here collected a dry grass, put it next to the water hole as the hippo walks down during the warm of the day to drink the water. When the hippo arrives, he saw quite a very nice grass, an area not to resist to rest. And when the hippo went down to drink the water, and when finished the water, he just lied down on the grass. And then, that was the opportunity of the scribe. You know what? Today is my day to pay the revenge.
Okay, there's another big male coming in from our left here. Another big male, look at this. This is the one. Now you're going to see sparks fly, guys. Guys, it doesn't get better than this, eh? Yes, unbelievable. Africa, I love you, eh?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We got tracks again of another bounding animal. Here you can see bound, boom. But look how far this is from there, to here, to here, to here. Keeps going. So here we'll be able to see quite nicely the foot. These are the two front feet. These are the two back feet. Very much like that of the rat or the mouse we saw before, but this is just far bigger. Look at the size. 3.5 centimeters. And if it was walking slower, we'd be able to see 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. These are the two front feet, and on the back foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a thumb with a longer sort of track over there. And when we look in the sandy soil, like this one over here, that's what we're looking at. We're seeing the double track, and we're seeing the longer pad of the back foot and the foretoes with the thumb. This is of a tree squirrel, busy bounding. Looks very much like that of the small mirrored track we saw earlier. The two front feet and the back feet come forward. But a nice track to look at. But in this indication, in this instance, this squirrel is bounding. Now we're going to move up a little bit and have a look at the difference when the squirrel is actually moving along the ground. You might have seen squirrels sort of doing that shuffling kind of motion. And then that's not a bounding squirrel. We get a very different track altogether in that regard. And here he's come walking. Here's the tracks here. Walking 1 foot at a time as he's sort of shuffling forward. Shuffling. Here's actually the tail where it touched the ground. And then something happened and he turned. He shifted his entire body from this side. That's probably what caused the tail to swish. The back feet switching. You can clearly see the bounding. Not bounding, walking. So here it's 1 foot at a time, almost like a monitor lizard, you know, that sort of shuffling on the ground kind of motion. And there he goes. Off he goes. Now, squirrels obviously very adept on the ground. They'll spend time moving around looking for food, and they'll be walking very slowly. If danger suddenly comes, that bound, he goes straight up the nearest tree, straight up whatever safety mechanism there might be for him. But you can see clearly the two very different types of gaits that we saw. The bounding and the walking, shuffling squirrel over here. Nice tracks to see. And we'll see if we can point out so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 toes and a thumb. So that's a back foot. And this looks like a front foot here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not always easy to see, but there it looks like where he's completely shifted and gone in this direction. Heather, I've never seen a koala bear track. I have a feeling they might be a little bit bigger though. Little koala bear walking around. Do koala bears sort of shuffle like this on the ground? So nice little rodent track walking around. And obviously that back thumb on the back foot is for climbing. Very, very good at climbing, and their nails are very, very sharp. Very good at climbing trees, and that's where they keep out of danger. And that bounding ability, the ability to cover some ground in a short period of time. You saw those bounding leaps over there in the track. Very easy to evade, to climb, and to hoist itself up a tree without getting caught by a multiple number of predators that will catch them. But I've never known of lions to catch a tree squirrel.
As you can see, this is even better. Like I mentioned earlier, these animals who try hunt at this time of the day because it's still cool enough for them to still looking. But yeah, it's a bit difficult though because some of them are unexperienced, as you can see. We count from the back. There's 1, 2, 3, including the white one. There's another one that's lying down between the two that walking parallel to each other. There you go. As you can see, they're still a bit playful though. That shows they not really matured lions. The only adult female is the old one that's lagging behind. So these animals have it difficult to find something to eat. But yeah, they are capable to take something down for themselves at this age. But they're not that successful. So I should possibly still lead. I'm going to go forward. There's one that's gone up a tree. Let's quickly go over there. It's not very often you see lions up a tree. I'm moving this fast. I'm so excited. I'm hoping animal doesn't come down before we get there. As you can see, there he is. Yeah, that's very, very rare to see a lion in a tree like that. Oopsie, just came down the tree, but I'm so happy we got to see him while he was up in the tree. That's very unusual for these animals to go up a tree. I've seen sometimes a lion up in the tree trying to get the food from the leopard. As I said, these animals also scavenge as well. Most people generalize that hyenas are scavengers. I'll say all the predators are opportunists, besides the cheetah, because cheetah are in bottom line of the food chain. That's why even enough vultures or a jackal can chase the cheetah away from the kill. So once the cheetah have made a kill, they'll try to eat as quickly as possible before anything sees them, and they eat until they're full and they leave the rest, because they know the smell might attract other predators in the area. So otherwise, I've seen lions scavenging from cheetah, from leopards, from wild dogs. These animals will look out for vultures going down and they'll quickly go over there, chase the vultures away and take over whatever is there. So they are opportunists. They'll take whatever is there. So just carry on again, follow them and see where they go. They're heading in the right direction. Like now, walking towards one of our water holes, Clara Dam, of which this is about time like antelopes or most of the prey species will be coming down to water, because it's getting nice and warm. As you can see, they're stopping and yes, she's still able to do so. As you can see, she's checking around, even though she's losing power almost every day, but she does participate on the hunt, and she's the most experienced animal, even though she's not that strong animal, but I've seen her participating on the hunt. Yes, she still do. And it's good though, she knows the area quite well. That's why she's taking these young ones to places and show them where to go when time comes, because this young male's been chased so bad by the two ross males the other day, so they're gonna need to find places where they're gonna go. So this is what she's trying to do, showing them places where to go when time comes. Every now and then they'll join with the pride, but she does lead them and start teaching them before she passes away, because we don't know how long she's still gonna be here, because that's really old for a lion, like 17 years old, so she's been around for quite some time. Okay, animals just gone around the corner, and we're just gonna start the vehicle and drive slowly towards them again and see what they do ahead of us. Let's move on. I'm so happy we got to see these animals finally, but I was hoping they'll be on a carcass, but yeah, like I said, these animals will try tonight, nothing happens, try the next day. So this shows there was no success last night, of which they might drink some water by the water hole and find a spot to lie down for the day. Maybe find a shade not far from that water hole. It's going to be really difficult for most of the prey species to come to drink if they happen to lie not too far from the water. And then, yeah, otherwise for them it will be a good advantage, because they will have positioned themselves in the right spot, because most of the water from the rain from our last season is drying out. So animals starting to rely mostly on these big water holes. So there will be huge traffic of animals coming down to drink. So you never know. By this afternoon, when we come back and try look for these animals, if they got lucky there, they might be feeding off something. Unless they take something small down, they might eat and finish, because if they catch an impala, then that's not enough for all of them like this. But if they happen to take something big like a kudu, maybe giraffe, zebra, wildebeest, it will be enough for all of them. You never know this afternoon when you come look for them, because they definitely heading towards the water hole. So they might find a place to lie there. So again, circle around and see if we can get them drinking by the water and see where they're going to be, so we know exactly where to look for them this afternoon. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive around, catch up with them maybe if they drink there, and then watch where they're going to lie down, so we'll know exactly where to look for them this afternoon.
So we stationary here at the Galago Pen, and then we just guys actually find the other of a Talamati Pride. Looks like a 5 there, and they were coming in this way when we lost them into this little bush, but they will probably pop out into this watering hole here. And the birds are still taking it easy. Blacksmith and lapwings all mixed up with some sparrows. Canary. It's got a bird activity this morning around this watering hole. I can actually see one of the lioness trying to appearing from the thicket. And it looks like they're gonna drink while we're around here, I think. Now we experience one of the lioness. Looks like she's got a wire around her neck. I'm not sure what happened there. We're just gonna see when I come to the watering hole here.
Got the visual of your Sabi moving.
So they're checking around here before they come to drink. They'll probably check what could be around. We close. This is a Galago Pen, so on our left hand side is a camp. So eventually this is the other pride, Talamati Pride. It's not the one we saw with the dark mane and the young male and the female. They're still in the wood there. They haven't coming out yet. But the guys just bump on these other one along the Galago shortcut, so they're not far from one another. If they would make another contact back into that bush, they will respond, probably go join them there. So that behavior that we are seeing them doing right now, it's because of the probably a lot of movement. There's a camp here, we're on a Galago Pen, so there probably some movement of human being in the camp there. Maybe they're trying to be aware of it. Looks like she look thirsty then. Blonde eye. The Talamati is coming to drink. We experienced one of the lioness here. It looks like she's got a wire around her neck, and we're trying to have a look correctly what that could be, because of, well, otherwise probably call the vet if it's not the case then. But she hasn't coming out of the bush. She's still making her way down to this watering hole. bearded woodpecker was contacting, calling by knocking that wood back in there. So we're not so sure where they came from. Dr. Rocky Baba is asking what the color lines can see. Probably during the day they can see as we can see, but only at night that I'm not too sure, but probably see where there's kind of like not 100% infrared, but sort of an object, that movement they can see at night. Oh yeah, the lioness that we thought she's got a snare, I think is the one on the left there. The one that is drinking is the one we thought that she's got a snare. I'm not sure, probably wire that they, during the movement, have maybe walked through it. Another one that's coming from the far distance has got something on its mouth, probably an older shoe. I think so. Just not too sure where we're close to the camp here. What happened that would be a hyena stealing one of these, or any plastic and a thing that is hyena pick up from the camp. They will just throw it away or outside of the camp. The lion has got, they weren't going to eat in that thing. Bit of a wind picking up, but so they're still looking at the camp there, since there's what a little bit of a movement, people working in there, but they gotta be so sensitive seeing human being around them. Been probably on a lot of movement last night because they were not in Djuma, but the three that we saw this morning, they were in Djuma, then we just failed to find them yesterday. But these one, all entire bride, they just make their way in, probably in the middle of the night. So, natural lover, you're asking whether lions drink water every day. Yeah, they can drink water every day. And especially when they go without food, full belly, and they can drink whether once or twice a day when they want. But when they have prey species, they seems to be rely on the blood moisture from the meat itself. So, and they won't actually bother too much look for water if there is water around. They can, but if there's nothing, then we're just gonna concentrate on the moisture, blood they receive from the meat itself. rangers around there, so they're going to just make their way out of this area. So we're gonna stay here, see if these lions are gonna go far from here.
The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, encourages people to care for the earth. Through innovative projects, they aim to reverse the serious issues that we face in the world today. One of these projects is Green Coast, a proudly South African award for sensitive and well-managed coastal sites. This sustainability project protects our national coastlines while providing unemployed youth with a love for their environment and a hope for the future. WESA is a membership and volunteer-supported organisation. Every supporter is helping to change the only earth we have. Visit our website to see how you can help care for our earth.
It's day one of the annual South African Guide of the Year competition, and our first foot into this competition this morning is all about tracks and signs.
We're going to call you in one at a time. Just look at it, the information will be there.
Our 5 guides have been tasked by the judges at figuring out who is what is who, and where they go in the bush.
Either Franklin or guinea fowl, but because of the volume of other deposits in the area, we went with guinea fowl.
Detailing the surrounding that you need to look out for tracks. The details is very important.
I've seen something I've never seen here before. Look at these cubs. One is crossing the river, it's being washed away unfortunately, but I'm sure the mother is going to save her. Look at that. How beautiful, look at that. One crossing, 2 to go. How cool is this?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Welcome back to Tracks on the Ground here in Pridelands. We're just keeping our ears perked up because Lagatha was found not far from where we are currently walking. She was heading in this direction, but let's just keep our ears open. There's some impalas have run there. Chances of her just walking to us now, how lucky can we be in 1 week? You never know. But here we got a track on the ground. You'll see this band over here. Turn, and then turned again. Now, very obviously a snake track, but look at the thickness of that. Now, when we talk about snake tracks, I've talked about it before, we get the 3 different types of snake movement. And one is the concertina, which is like the puff adder, which moves like a worm, just going straight like that, not with the line in the middle. The other one is the side winding, where the snake basically lifts itself up, and pushes against the sand. It leaves this sort of track like that as it's moving in that direction. And you get the obvious and the most commonly known with the snake as the serpentine, which is this sort of winding movement, and that enables snakes to move quite quickly. The concertina is one that's practiced by the puff adder and the and the python, because they're very camouflaged, they move very slowly. But I've seen both of them move like this when they want to move quickly. But black mamba, cobras, any snake really can move like this. And what's important in this type, this serpentine, is the direction. So as the animal's moving, you'll notice that sediment gets pushed, and it looks like it might be going this way. But when you look again, we'll see that there's a ridge there as it's pushed off there. There's a ridge there as it's pushed off there. And then again, over here, a ridge pushed off there, and another ridge pushed off there. Cars, unfortunately, driven over here, but there were seven ridges pushing that way and one ridge pushing that way, which is averages. The snake was going in this direction. And quickly. They generally move quickly when they're moving like this. And obviously a snake that's moving very slowly on the ground is susceptible to many forms of predation from the sky, and they're quite sort of weary of being caught like that. So they'll go from a thicket from that side to that side. It was quite hot and quite windy yesterday, so very good chance the snake was out and about because of the temperature. They are just one big solar panel. But here on the ground, we've got another track of an animal, and what I want you to have a look at, because this is going to be a question. Gizmo, I've been tracking since about 2007, learning and learning and learning. Now here is the back pad of a leopard. There's the male leopard, and you see the size. Look at that there, and over there almost looks like it extends past the knife, but you've got the toes 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, I want to know from you, the audience, is this a left foot or a right foot? 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll notice that that toe over there is the longest. Now, let's see if you were paying attention earlier. Hashtag WildEarth in the YouTube chat stream. Is it a left? Is it a right? These are nice questions to put into field observations. Species, sex, speed, right foot, left foot, front foot, back foot, snake, movement, serpentine, which is also the concertina, and I think rectilinear and concertina is the same thing, and then sidewinding, and then obviously direction, and you can see that through the mounds of sediment that are left here. Big snake. This could have been a black mamba. This could have been a python on the move. It could have been a cobra. Jenny, you're saying left. Well, Jenny, well done. Well done. I'm hoping that wasn't just a guess, and I'm hoping you've taken that according to what we showed before. And if you did, well done. You can see there's one finger, 2 fingers, 3, and it is definitely a left. If I put my right hand in, it just doesn't quite fit. So I hope that's helpful with regards to identifying the tracks, right versus left. Obviously, front versus back is generally quite easy because of the size, and speed is something we've dealt with. So bear in mind, pay attention. There will be a field observation either before I leave now. I'm only going away for 4 days on a trail to the Manyeleti, and I'll be back for 3 days. Maybe we'll do a few more tracks and then do a big field obs then before I go. But we're going to carry on, see if we can find Lagath. Exciting. Over to Dyke with a bird.
Wow, if you look there on top of this hill, this is a red hornbill which is sitting on top of the termite mound. What he's doing there is not sunning himself. As you can see, there's a bit of wind blowing. You may think he's sunning himself, but he's not. What he's doing is just doing what I'll call it, getting his breakfast. These termites were working on closing that broken pot on top of the mound. So the hornbill just arrived here. I think this is his routine for getting his breakfast every morning. As you can see, the white spots on top of that mound just below his tail those are his droppings, of which he comes and sits here, and he knows these termites will try to close that broken part every night, and this still have a bit of moisture that he can manage to break through with his strong beak to open the hole to encourage the termites to come to the top to try and repair that broken part. So he put his beak and catch them one by one. As you can see, every now and then he'll be dipping and lift his beak up, catching the termites. So definitely this is one of those termite mounds. And it's interesting though, the reason why they try to close the broken part is just because they need heat inside. Because we talk about termites eating the wood all the time, but these are fungus termites, of which they grow fungus species underground like mushrooms. That's what they feed their young. And when one is active, it's always sealed. They keep it closed because they need to keep the same heat temperature constant inside. So all what you can see of the mound is just the last part of the mound, which underground is 3 or 4 times bigger than what you can see. It's like an iceberg. So if you see one of those with too many holes around it, then it's no longer active. It can be utilized by rodents as well as reptiles. So where the hornbill is the only broken part. I'm sure he comes over every day and broke that part, which doesn't want the termites to close, because that's where he gets his food every day. And then, otherwise, very interesting thing about these termites, they grow fungus species underground like mushrooms. So it's wandering. Yeah, not really. And they sometimes be found in flocks, but when it comes to nesting, yes, the male, like they have this very interesting nesting habit, because they nest in tree hollows, excuse me, and then once she goes to incubate, she'll go inside and unplug some of the feathers and line them on top of the eggs and sit in the nest. And then the male will bring mud and he'll close the hole, leave a small entrance to feed the female through it until the eggs are hatched. That varies. The larger they are, the longer the incubation period. So once the eggs are hatched, then she had grown new feathers, and then she'll break and come out and join him, and then they'll close the hole again for, so we're just gonna leave him. As you saw, he came down the mound and look around, see if we can find something else. Maybe go look for those lines again, as I said earlier, because those other guys were very nice to move out for us. And then as soon as someone has moved out of that line sighting again, because we've just made a space for someone else, and we'll move in and see what the lines are up to.
So we got our pride of line again. They moved out of that, literally watering all day. They just felt not uncomfortable, and they just came to the little wood. They're just gonna be lying down here. There's only 2-3 that they drank there, but I'm sure whenever there's needing more water, they're gonna go around Gurry Dam there, have a drink. But for now, they all settle down. They even forget about all the threatening that happened. Empty. So you're saying that you hope that they aren't? Yes, they actually. Whenever it's anything around here, in terms of a game, they would probably going to be very much interested on that. But also is that they're not actually communicating. So it's a result that probably they on aim for a hopping to hunt around here. Well, it's getting so much of a light now. The wind is picking up, but it's not yet hot, so there's still a chance that we may see them going after these old antelope around here. And it's amazing how they're good on tracking one another also, because we this morning lost the other 3 around in his migrating site and his drainage line system that we couldn't cross over to keep up with them, but they're literally right here. I just can't confirm whether the guy still got them in the same area. It seems to be probably left open lock there, but I believe they may hook up again soon, during the day or later. They always work better for the pride when they're in together like this, and we count about all 7 of them here, so it works better that way. They can able to they cooperate hunter and they share whatever they can. They can kill from size of impala antelopes, steenbok if there's a chance, so small antelope, but they can fight over it. Pride like this, whenever they have enough meal, it's gotta be anything from kudus, wildebeest, zebras, waterbucks. Then they have a plenty of meat. So they're resting, but they can still pick up sound, and they can still smell. And every time they open their eyes, look around, because they always stay active, even then we know they're a little bit lazy lions, but checking out around the area, it's always so important. So that it is no surprise. Usually they don't want to get surprised, and during a hunt they always focus on spotting the game before the game spot them. And then also with the wind blowing to the north from where they are, Leo, you're asking what are the chances of cubs surviving from birth? So with the cats, most, it's a better chance, but not always, due to the fact that the cubs also die results in probably natural disease. Also, when they come across where they've been hidden. Also, they can kill by a leopard. So many things can happen to them. So, but they're good bride that are all capable of looking after their young one. They always make sure every time they go to hunt, there's got to be a guard that whether the male, and the female in the area, to stay around. Most of the male will stay around guarding the young one while the bride went to hunt. So if then survive by chance of getting killed by other different predators, or maybe the same species of cats that may be in and around here, if they ever survive from this, then they will make it through their life. Only the problem is such a natural causes, such a diseases, and that it would actually take them so young. So sometimes it can be very sustainable chance of survive when there is not much of challenge in the area on these cubs. So we're going to stick around here, see what they're going to be up to. Otherwise, we're going to just move around, look for something else.
We've got some tracks of a male leopard walking here. With the wind, it's hard to say exactly what time it was. He's walking very quickly, front foot, back foot. When the wind is like this, these animals can walk quite quickly to cover some ground as they move forward. I haven't yet come across tracks of a lioness. But we had a vehicle that came past us earlier that said she crossed here. He was going to go investigate where she'd come out. Here's our leopard still walking relatively quickly. Slowed down a bit as he sort of thought to smell the bush, then carried on walking here. Two leopards in 1 week. I don't know if we're going to be that lucky, but it would be nice. Always nice. Pearl spotted owlet calling. Went off there as a female now. That's probably what's going on. Some interaction happening. Female leopard, male leopard. Very exciting. Could be pixie pants, youngsters. Hasn't been any territorial marking that I've seen so far. I do like this area. Coming towards the western boundary, feeling we might come across some lioness tracks shortly.
actually lying on this dam wall here. As I mentioned earlier on, they're heading towards one of the water holes. As you can see, just lying on the walls, getting around. The white young male lion is just grooming himself. And this is like high enough for them to spot any kind of prey species that's gonna approach the water. As I said, this is still cool enough for these animals to try to hunt. And they're just checking around and see if they can see anything, but it looks like it starts getting warmer now. So what they're gonna do, unless they had water somewhere else, but it looks like they haven't been down to drink. If they did get some water along the way, then if it's getting warm, they might go find a shady spot to lie down for the day, unless an elephant will pass, may chase them away. But otherwise they'll be lying there and keep an eye around the water. If there's something drinking, then they might get interested on hunting that. People may wonder why that one particular one there is white, but it's two of them that are white. I don't see the other one now, but you may have seen both of them earlier on. Yeah, this is very lucky to see something like this, because it's not many there's more very, very rare. That's where I was going to come to. Very, very rare. You're so lucky to see this white lion, because this is one of three we're looking at now that still exist out in the wild, in the whole world, of which two are here in Ngala Reserve. So that's one of two, and then the other one is in Kruger Park between Sataro and Singita Libombo. Yeah, otherwise I was saying earlier, you wonder why it's white. It's just because that's a recessive gene. It's not an albino. It's just have to be both male and female excuse me, that have the genes to have a white lion being born like that. After 27, 30 years, people thinking there's no longer white lions out in the wild. So we're very, very lucky to have this, what we're looking at now, as a white lion. Yeah, and most of the lions in this area possibly carrying the genes of the white lions, because if you follow the bloodline or the tree line of these lions, they're coming from far background of the original pride where the white lions were born from, because this is the young, mostly young Birmingham lions, and came from Caroline's pride, of which Caroline's pride will be coming from the Mashatan pride, and Mashatan pride came from the Sovila pride, which that's where originally the white lions were born from. And all the research has been done around this Ngala Reserve by the guy called Chris McBride. He's the guy that wrote the book, or did the research about those white lions, and also read the book called The White Lions of Timbavati. And then, yeah, for me, I'd say very lucky to see this, because I've been working at this reserve in Ngala for about 32 years now. So this is the second white lion I've seen, or first white lion I've seen in 27 years, of which that shows how rare these animals are. So you're so lucky to see what we're looking at now. As you can see, the two young males, they looks like they're paying attention at something that's coming from far away. But unfortunately, I'm behind the bushes, so we can't see what they're looking at. So you don't want to move between them and what they're looking at, but as soon as they show sign of getting up and walk in a direction where they're facing, we might get up or turn the engine and drive, take a loop and see what they're looking at. So let's just stop where we are and not interfere with what these animals are looking at. As you can see, there's 3 in a row there. They're all young males, and the 2 bigger ones, they're from the same mother. Nazreen, I'd say depending on how large is the prey they've caught. So if they kill something like a giraffe or a buffalo, it will last these animals maybe 3-4 days, depending on how many they are. But otherwise, if they kill an impala, it's like a snack, so it will disappear in a few minutes, and then they'll definitely have to hunt again. But so animals like this will need maybe a zebra or wildebeest to last them a couple of days. Otherwise, yeah, if it's a very large pride, we saw the Birmingham pride, and these ones were not with the 17, because the rest of the pride is 17 of them, and it's 23 when they're all together with these ones we're looking at now. And yeah, we saw the 17 that finished the buffalo, if I'm not mistaken, was in 12 hours. They caught the buffalo. 12 hours later, the buffalo was gone. It didn't even last 24 hours. That shows how much they need to eat, more especially with the males being there, because the males will take more than what these females can eat. Like a fully grown male can weigh maybe 250, 300 kilograms. And then he'll need like 40% of his body weight to eat. So it's something like 100 kilograms of food per day. See, the white one is just walked over to the other white young female. So we're just going to sit here and see whether these lions are going to hunt, or they'll just look for a place to lie down for the day, because that's what normally lions will do. Let's sit here and see what these animals will do from now. See there, one just laid down.
The Endangered Wildlife Trust fights at the forefront of conservation, across the vast karoo and sweeping grasslands, in remote pockets of forest, along road networks, across African skies, and in communities to conserve our wildlife and wild spaces. Help us to protect forever, together. Donate now at ewt.org.za.
And I turned to Shaun and I saw that she had this panicked look on her face. Either she was afraid that something had happened, or she was afraid that she was going to miss out on something. But instead of her missing out on those lions, we drove up next to them and I switched off the car so that she could hear what was going on. Now, these lions had killed a kudu, and she could hear these 2 cubs, both 8 months old at the time, busy pushing and shoving each other out the way to get to the best parts of the meat. And the mom was lying just to the side in the shade. Now, I'd known that before losing her sight, Shaun probably knew what a lion looked like. But I really wanted her to know what this lion looked like. So for the first time in my guiding career, I started to describe to someone what a lion looked like. And I found that, I started to notice things in that lion that I'd never seen before.
You are cheeky. That was a brave decision. Amber Eyes is... Oh. That is so magic. That was absolutely wonderful. Amber Eyes just gave that cub an enormous hug.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Delivering 6 hours of HD wildlife content live every day is no small feat. It's a massive team effort, and we all rely on one another. Cam Ops have a bit of work to do in the morning, up nice and early, get all the checks out of the way, and make sure we're ready to go live. Helping others fall in love with nature brings meaning to what I do. It's also a lot of fun.
So everybody has still got the pride and they're still chilling out here into this. It's kind of like a open perch, but it's around it. It's a lot of aguari bushes. So the wind, it's coming in, but very slow. So they have a cover. But with the lions, all cat species, such a weather, when it's not very wind, or then they would need a wind for a hunt. So the wind would assist cats on a hunt, pouring of rain also. But you see every time when they move, they would rather approach the wind, so they would smell whatever the wind may bring in front of them. That's one of the young male. So when I kill prey species, the minute the prey species is down, doesn't matter how big it is, in the pride, seeing them kill buffaloes, before buffalo die, they're already eaten and start feeding on the back. It's a lot of time animal would die of a choke, running out of the blood, or the stomach is all out. As a buffalo, they're one of the toughest game to hunt out here for lions. So if they would have anything like buffalo's size, they would spend a few days, 3-4 days in that kill. And they can still eat meat that is rotten. Some meat which is bleed out with some maggots around. And they still eat that. So they would take anything from about 5 to 7 kilogram. At the end of the day, they may end up probably having about 18 kilogram of food. The male would take more than that. Looks like they get frightened. And what build the pride, it always so important for them having males who would breathe with them. Patsy, asking how many lions can we see? When they arrived into that little waterhole, we saw 7. So now probably maybe about 6 of them there, and then another one, I'm not sure where he is. Probably the young male that is well hidden in these tall grasses. So there were 7, but plus 3 that we saw early in the morning, including the male, the dark mane. So when they all meet up, there will be probably around 10 of them in the pride. When a successful breeder, when they have males, so interval sometimes between birth, it's anything from 20-30 months. And then from there she will conceive, and then the cub's already well independent. But coming on the estrus is one of the very important things for the lions, but most all animals. So with the lions, anything from 4 to 7 days estrus cycles. So if there is a male that is in an area dominating the pride, pick up that female that she's on estrus, definitely she'll get pregnancy. So we're going to stay put. Hopefully the other member of the dark men arrive into the area. In the meantime, let's go over to Dyke. We also have lions.
Yeah, still with these lions here, if you look carefully on the belly or the stomach, excuse me, of the white young male that's lying there, he's got a bit of a blood stain, and his belly looks a bit full. They may have caught something small last night, maybe an impala, especially the vegetation where they were found earlier. When they follow them to here, along that dry riverbed, there will be normally bushbuck and other small antelopes feeding on the vegetation along the banks, because there's a bit of greenery because of the high water level. So definitely caught something small that didn't feed all of them. As I said, if they kill something small, not everybody gets to eat. And he seems to be the one that's got a bit of a blood stains amongst all of them, and others doesn't. So they may have had a little bit or a very small antelope that fed them last night to get them going another day or two. As you can see, they're still looking around, because if it was something really small, then not everybody got to eat. They might want to eat something else again. So yeah, these young males as well will participate. It's a chance for them to start learning, because soon they might be by themselves, so they need to gain more experience so they'll be able to hunt for themselves as soon as they not with the pride anymore, or not with these lionesses, because it's the 3 of them, including 2 young females that may go back and join the pride, and these guys are going to be by themselves for the next maybe 2-3 years, because that's when they'll be fully matured in 5-6 years. So these guys are only 3 years old now, so they still have a long way to go. So we're hoping they make it to adulthood. As you listen from a distance, you can hear a hippo that's gone quiet now, and the wind is blowing away from us. Yeah, the female white lion is further to the left, so she's also gonna go back and join the pride, but the young male is gonna be with the two tawny ones there, and then that one that's closer to the tawny lion is the female white lion, and the one that's lying by himself is the young male. So you can see he's just started developing his mane, but the two there are the normal ones. Those are the two that I said. It's really nice because it's 3 young males, including the white one. So he's got company, even if they're not with the pride. And then it's going to be really nice for him because the two will look after him. Unlike his brother, the Birmingham male, he was the only young male that survived in his litter. So his chances were very slim. That's why he didn't leave the pride even as we speak. Once in a while, he'll follow and join the pride and try get something to eat from the pride when the two Ross males are not with the pride. But otherwise, yeah, looks like they slowly lying down, looking for a place to sleep. They're gonna lie down here, but as soon as it starts getting too hot, they definitely know how to find the shade. They're gonna move from where they are and find a different spot where they're gonna lie down for the day. I'm just hoping something will come over to drink. We might see them quickly get up as well, because even though that white one in the middle there, he looks fast asleep, but he's not. Yeah, definitely, but it's not gonna be like complete white as you can see. If you look at the color of the mane, it's sort of like tawny bit, but it's gonna be a blonde, beautiful mane. As you can see, if you look at the size of his paws, even though he's 3 years old, that's a big boy, and I'm hoping to see him till his adulthood to see how big he's gonna get compared to what he looks now. But yes, definitely his mane is gonna look very beautiful, unlike the other normal lions. Not that the other lions are not beautiful, but it's really beautiful to see one like this with the mane and what the mane is gonna look like. It's not gonna be complete white though. Let's sit here another 20 minutes or so and see what these lions are doing. Otherwise, we're going to leave them in peace and find them this afternoon.
Thanks, Doc. What we found? Ooh. Another serpentine track. Slithering. We found tracks of Lagatha cutting through towards where we were, but we didn't see them come out at all. She's quite sneaky like that. She likes to go in and come back and go in. But we wouldn't see her on foot. She's quite jumpy. She behaves like a leopard, in fact. Or Lagatha, the lioness. She's very good at sneaking around. She's on her own most of the time, you see, so she's very good at avoiding. We did wait for a while in the road, hoping she might just sort of materialize. This happened to us once this week. But we were very lucky. So haven't seen her come out again. But the wind, this makes for optimum conditions for a predator to be hunting. We've had leopard tracks up and down, hyena tracks up and down. One lioness track that just vanished as if she caught an Uber. She's in there somewhere. Long, grassy thickets, which would lose an elephant if they stood still. So you can imagine a leopard and a lion. The amount of leopards I've probably walked past in my life, probably equal to that of snakes. They just go. As long as you don't look at them, because you don't see them, they won't react. They'll just go, watch you. And then you walk off and then they carry on their own way. They have no reason to confront us in any way. That's why the sighting the other day was so special, because for quite a few moments he had no idea we were there.
Are just so endearing to watch. Especially, oh, look at that one that's just ridiculous. Present, we're on the dam camp. That is very sweet. And the oxpeckers are clearly making the most of it. I did have some dwarf mongoose running on that tree behind that fallen over tree. Ah, and there's a squirrel. That's all happening on the dam camp. Well, hello, sleepyhead. Meticulous groomers and the works. I think that's slightly more pleasant for any being, but I had no idea. I think as long as safety comes first, their hearing will be distorted when the wind is strong, their sense of smell will be distorted. So I think wherever they can seek shelter is the priority. But I really have never thought of that before. Species identification was all with squirrels and mongoose. It's slightly strange being in a room and not actually being out in the real environment. But it's definitely tree squirrels. If you see an impala with a very high tick load, you know that they're unwell, because you can see how much this oxpecker, is in the eye. That doesn't look too pleasant. As I sit and watch our sleepy impalas, we are going to send you over to Dyke with his lions.
Yeah, it seems like these lions are not going to do much. Probably this is it for the day. They're just going to lie here and hope something come up. As soon as it starts warming up, they'll look for a shade. Maybe spend another 5 minutes here. If they don't do much, then we're gonna leave them, come back this afternoon and see what happened during the day, because this is normally what they'll do. They just see maybe one or two of them have eaten, so they don't really have to go and hunt. But before I leave here, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna circle around and see if there's anything on the other side, what they may be watching. So it's very interesting, because they're not taking their eyes off the area where they're looking. If you go over to the far left, you can see the white one, the female, is also paying attention to whatever the two brothers are looking at. So maybe definitely something that they'll be watching on the other side. That's why I said before we leave here, we're going to try circle around and see what these animals are looking at. You can see the big one is also heads up, looking at the same thing. This shows how good their senses are. As I said earlier, these animals may have very good senses, way better than us, good sense of smell, hearing, eyesight, and then they can be seeing something far away through the trees that we cannot see from where we're sitting. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, last I've sat with the two Ross males, and then they looked like they were lying flat, very fast, asleep, and all of a sudden they had something that we couldn't hear. They got up and ran, and we tried to follow them, and we couldn't catch up with them through the bushes, and we decided to switch off the vehicle. Then 15-20 minutes later, we had them growling at each other. From where they were, that was a distance of about 3 kilometers, and the Pride had a kudu kill. So that's the furthest I've watched them running from the one spot to the next destination. So I'm not sure how far they can hear. I can look out for that and find out for you. But they've got good senses though. So 2-3 kilometers from where they were, and they run in a straight line. They had the lions feeding that far, and then they got up and ran and kept that. But I know sometimes with these senses, another lion will be roaring maybe 10-12 kilometers away, and easily the one lion can pick that up. And we can't hear, maybe we can just hear that maybe 7 kilometers, but another lion can easily pick up another lion sound from 10-12 kilometers when he roar, like a full roar, not a low contact. You can see they all looking in that same direction, so there's definitely something slowly making its way to the water, hoping gonna see something here not too long. As you can see, earlier on I mentioned that old lion as being the only lion with the experience, so she's up and scanning carefully. So there's definitely something that's drawing their attention. You can see she's looking as well. If there was nothing, then she was gonna be lying flat, because she knows exactly what she's doing, unlike these young ones that are just learning from her. But she's definitely noticed something. As you can see, she's watching still in that direction. Very sad now, because the wind is blowing in a direction where they're looking. If it happens to be one of the prey species, they might easily pick up the scent and decide not to come this direction and go the other way. If they were looking into the wind, then the chances were good, but now the chances are slim because they're looking downwind. We're just gonna wait and see what they were looking at.
the Advanced Rifle Handling Challenge, which is actually lots of challenges in one to gauge the contestants' skills at different distances and different speeds. This is probably the challenge that the contestants are the most nervous about. So let's get them locked and loaded. Competitors are now doing the Hales halt, where they have to run back and forth to a target, turn, take aim, and shoot. And this simulates a chase in a real environment and gets the heart pumping and the blood pressure up. James gave us a demonstration, and the skill involved in this exercise is remarkable.
Oh, it's going to be in trouble now. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Here comes a hippo in too. Go, Impala. There's a hippo coming in. I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is what we normally see in East Africa. It's all over. Hippo leaping at the crocodile now. Everything's gone underwater.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Yeah, you can see the wildebeest busy drinking there, but these lions are keeping an eye on them. But there's going to be a long morning to circle and try get to where the wildebeest are. But if there was enough cover, then yes, we were going to see them to start stalking, but they very well exposed as you look across. The wildebeest are across this water hole here. So the chances are very slim for these lions, but you never know. Also, the wind is in favor of the wildebeest because it's blowing towards them, and these lions are upwind from the wildebeest. So yeah, we're just gonna sit here and see what these lions do. But if they're gonna try walk through this open here, they easily gonna be spotted by the wildebeest, and all of a sudden they'll might hear them making alarm call, and that will be the end of the day. And there's also an impala there. That's why wildebeest, impala, zebra all hang around together for safety, because it's sort of like safety in numbers. When one sees the predator first, he'll just give a warning to each other. But for now, I'd say all those wildebeest and impalas haven't noticed the lions, even though the wind is blowing towards them. They just had their drink and they're happy, but the impalas haven't been down to the water. So we're just gonna sit here and wait and see what's gonna happen, because once we move, we may disturb the wildebeest and the impalas, and they might move away. But they also know that this time of the day, these lions will be still hunting, so they'll quickly come over, get their drink, and try to leave as quickly as possible. As you can see, not all of them that have had their drink for the day. It's just some of them. But yeah, so they will drink carefully. As you can see, off they go. They possibly picked up the scent from the lions, because these animals are downwind from these lions. As I said, the chances are very slim that these lions will try get up. They're just gonna maybe sit here, wait for these wildebeest and impalas to finish drinking, and as soon as they disappear into the bushes, they know they have a better chance, so they might get up and start walking towards those wildebeest and impalas. But I don't think they're gonna do it now, because they sort of like know as soon as they get up, and then they'll be noticed. So they just keeping an eye on them and waiting for them to go into some dense vegetation. Then they might quickly get up and follow them. Maybe this is what they'll do, because knowing that the chances are very slim in a day, they may follow a prey species like that and keep a distance from them, and then wait for the sun to go down, and they'll try go and separate one and go for it. So let's give it some time and see what's going to happen here. While we're here, we're going to go over to Andrew with his lines and see what they're doing.
So, thank you so much, Dyke. You know, it always happens for the lions. They can sometimes delay hunting if it's not possible for them. I just all take it easy. But we got this pride since we got here. They haven't really moved around yet. And then I believe they might be around here for the whole entire day, unless if maybe they get disturbed, because there's so much going on during the day. A lot of prey species may move about to go drink into that Galago pane there. Man with other young female and a young male, they have moved further north into the tribe.
Yeah, we're still sitting here. These lions are still keeping an eye on those impala and the wildebeest. As you can see, some of the wildebeest have already had their drink and they're moving away from this water. Seems like some of the wildebeest, one or two, the one on the far left seems to have spotted the lions, and then off they go. As I said earlier on, these wildebeest and impalas, they downwind from the lions, and then they might pick up the scent from the lions. So they definitely did pick up the scent from the lions, and all they're doing, they're leaving now because they know it's not safe for them. Yeah, otherwise you see those lions keeping an eye on them. And there's also a couple of vultures circling above the pride. And yeah, you never know, because the rest of the pride with the cubs were not far from where we are. Maybe just gonna keep an eye on these vultures and see where they go, as the lions might do the same. As soon as the vultures go down, they might get up and go see what the vultures are after. This was a beautiful morning. Let's hope these lions are here this afternoon, and we'll come back here and see what happened during the day.